Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to look at my mono black demon deck for Commander. Basically, the story of this is that I wanted to make a non-traditional tribal deck and saw demons, I like them a lot. But it was very difficult to make a Commander deck on this because they basically have no synergy with each other. They're all independent threats that want to do their own thing, and they also have some sort of sacrifice usually involved with them, which makes sense. Obviously, they're demons. Usually you have to sacrifice life or resources in some way. So anyway, it's a fun deck. It's not good, but it's fun. It's like bracket 1, bracket 0 kind of level. So let's just get right into it. We have non-creature and creature spells. We'll start off with the commander. Nepharax, again, flying, exalted. When he attacks alone, defending player sacks a creature. So again, this is one that he gains a benefit, but he has to attack by himself, because all demons are independent, I guess. And then we'll get into non-creature stuff. Dark Ritual, obviously, because why not? Wretched Sorrow. You're going to be paying life a lot, so it's a good way to gain life back. Sol Ring, Charcoal Diamond. Heirloom Mirror here is low-key kind of like one of my favorite cards in this deck because you pay a life, discard a card, draw a card, then you put a writ counter on it, and then when it gets 3, transforms into this. It's a demon with flying, and you can pay 3 and exile a creature from a graveyard, and gets a +1/+1 with it. So, pretty cool. It's got a lot of utility, I guess. Doomblade, obviously. Victim of Night. Cast Down, Infernal Grasp. Sign in Blood, because mono black, obviously. Demonic Council. This card is just good in this deck because you can just search any demon you want, put in your hand. So it's kind of funny because this card is good and it's played a lot in Commander just as a generic tutor. So I also would suggest people buy this because a lot of tutors are going up in price. It's satiable at like Avarice or whatever, shot up from $4 to $20 recently. So, and then you got Demonic Tutor, obviously, that's like $100 card. But anyway, I would suggest you guys pick this up before this jumps in price. Ghoulish Procession. Whenever one or more non-token creatures die, get a 2/2 black zombie with Decayed. So basically, this is just here for tribute fodder. Murder, because why not? Hero's Downfall, because why not? Icon of Ancestry. Basically, it's an anthem. It also has another effect where pay 3. You look at the top 3 of your library, put a creature from a chosen type from among them into your hand, you put the rest in the bottom. So it's a good way to also get resources because in mono black, like I do have some draw engines in the deck, but you do run out of gas and you spend a lot of mana doing stuff in this deck. Banner here, this card's insane. All of your creatures get +1/+0, and then taps for any mana of the chosen color, which is black. So, Warm Power Stone for more ramp. Languish, it's a board wipe. Our creatures are all... The one thing about demons is that they all have pretty decent stats. That's like the one thing they all kind of have going for them. So, basically, this board wipe doesn't really affect you that much. Ritual of Suit, again, they were They're all expensive mana cost wise, so it doesn't affect the deck that much. Instruments of War, it's another Anthem, and that's all it does. It has Flash for some reason. Golem's Eye gives just ramp. Could put Thran Dynamo in here, you know, that'd be a good card, but I don't want to spend $5 on it. Hedron Archive, more ramp. Stone Speaker Crystal. I wanted to say Speaker Stone Crystal. Another ramp spell. Gathering Stone gives you discount. And then when it enters and at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of the library. If it's a card of the chosen type, so obviously pick demons, you reveal it, put it in your hand, and if you don't, you can put it in your graveyard. So kind of interesting. This card's insane. There's a new card that's like 6 mana in the new set that just came out that kind of does what this does, but it's a little bit better because it gives your creatures more boost, I guess. I don't know what it's called, but that card's like $20-$30. This is currently $4 or $5, and I think it'll shoot up pretty soon, so because it is pretty good. It's another draw engine, basically. It's another Anthem and draw engine, so for the deck, whenever you cast a creature of the chosen type. Those are non-creature spells. And then these are our creatures. Again, demons require sacrificing a lot, so I have this guy. I think he's great, kind of for a long time, so I just put him in the deck, and he's a good way to keep reusing him and sacking him to, you know, get your demons out. Awakener. Sack another creature, draw a card, transform him. Turns into a 4/4, but for some reason he doesn't have flying, so that was kind of a missed opportunity there. Grub, when he dies, create 2 worm tokens, so more sack fodder. Metallic Mimic. This card used to be pretty expensive for a while, but it dropped to like $4. Basically, it's Anthem, but the creatures enter with the counters instead of it sitting there and buffing them up. Skeleton. Again, another card to recur and keep sacking. This is the other guy that I was going to try out as my commander. Basically, whenever a non-token creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on him. And then if it's a cleric, you draw a card, lose a life, but there's basically no clerics in the deck other than him. But basically, when he gets 5 or more, he gets lifelink, which is pretty good. Counters. Embodiment of Agonies. I've had this card for a while, and I think he's really cool, but he's pretty terrible beginning of the game, but later on he gets a lot better when there's a bunch of stuff in your graveyard. So there was one time I cast him and he was like a 15/15. So that's pretty good. Soul Cage. When he dies, each player loses 3 life. Necromage, when they die or whatever, you get 2 more tokens you can sack for. Baleful Amit. It's a new addition. Basically, when he enters, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. So he's just another demon that has lifelink, so that's good. You put a counter on some creature that you just don't care about. Adapted Amontoton. I think that's how you say that. Basically, it's another Anthem card. He's not like that good in this deck, but you know, know, another Anthem effect doesn't hurt. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more creatures die, draw a card. So you're basically always in this deck going to be drawing a card at least once each turn with him. He's just really good card in general. I like him a lot. Demon Lord of Ashmouth. Smashmouth. I don't know. Basically, when he enters, exile it unless you sack another creature. And then he has Undying. So when he dies, he comes back with a +1/+1. So he's pretty good. But you do have to sack something. Bloodspeaker. This guy is an auto include in any demon tribal deck. Tribal. When he dies, or beginning upkeep, you sack him, look for a demon, put it in your hand. And then whenever a demon comes into play under your control, you return him from the graveyard back to your hand. So he's pretty good. Desecration Demon. Beginning of each combat, an opponent may sack a creature. If they do, tap him, put a counter on him. I'll just say it, he's not that good in Commander. Like, there's so many decks that just don't care about sacking a creature. So there's going to be some games where he just never does anything. So Mind Rack Demon. When he enters, you mill 4. And then if you basically get punished if you don't have Delirium. You lose 4 life at the beginning of each upkeep if you don't have Delirium. Spawn of Mayhem. This card is amazing. As Spectacle, pay 3, cast it if opponent has lost life that turn. Flying Trample, beating each upkeep, each player gets pinged, and then if you have 10 or less life, which is possible with this deck, put a counter on him. Demon of Catastrophes. Additional cost to cast him, sack a creature. But he's a 6/6 with Flying and Trample for 4 mana, so the artwork is pretty cool. Blood Gift Demon. He's basically just an extra draw each turn. Woebringer. This guy's pretty good too. Beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacks a creature. If they can't, he dies. But, you know, so basically, if the more he stays on the battlefield, the better he gets. Shadowborn Demon. This card's not bad. It has a pretty big downside, but basically, when it enters, destroy target non-demon creature. Nobody's really playing demons, so you're always going to have a target for it. He also has the beginning of each upkeep. If there are fewer than 6 creatures in your graveyard, you sack a creature. And then there's Blood-Soaked Altar. Pay 2 life. Discard. Sack. But you get a 5/5 demon. And it's a sorcery speed, which is, that's kind of a big downside in my opinion. I mean, you are giving up quite a few resources for this. But, keep pumping out a 5/5 each turn is pretty good. This card is really funny. So basically, he's doing some sort of karate kick here. But he's a 7/7 with Flying and Trample. Beginning of your upkeep, you sack a creature, and then each opponent loses life equal to that creature's power. So I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Like, as long as you have, like, even like if it's a big creature that you need, like dealing 8 to 9 damage a turn just with that effect is pretty good. But again, the whole independent theme kicks in now, because then it says if you can't sack a creature, you tap him and then you lose 7. So actually not that big of a downside, but it will add up if you continue to miss that trigger. Hellcarver Demon. This card, a lot of people hate this card. I think he's pretty cool. I understand that he's not very good, but the artwork is pretty dope. Basically, when it deals combat damage to a player, you sack all your permanents, discard your hand, exile top 6 cards of your library, and cast any number of non-land cards without paying their mana cost. So you could get really lucky with this and get like some big bombs and drop them, and but there's going to be probably a good chance you whiff. Really funny card. Dreadhound, basically, when he enters mill 3, and then whenever creature dies or put into a graveyard from the library, each opponent loses a life. So people just can't board wipe when this is out. It's like the same thing with a Blood Artist, like they just can't board wipe unless they want to deal with losing a lot of life. Reaper from the Abyss. This card is probably one of the top 2 or 3 best cards on the deck. So other than having really cool artwork, has Morbid at the beginning of each end step, not just yours. If a creature died this turn, destroy target non-demon creature. So again, if someone kills someone else's commander, which has happened, and then I'm like, oh, end step, I get Morbid, and I shoot down someone else's creature. Really good card. Harvester of Souls. Whenever a non-token creature dies, doesn't matter if it's yours or somebody else's, you may draw a card. Don't know why the may is even an option, but obviously this card's really good, right? So Gormand, basically, you have to sack a creature to cast it, which sucks, but whatever. So what do you get? You get a Flying Trample 5/5, and when it enters, each opponent sacks a creature. This card is okay. I might swap it out for something else. Arbiter of Woe, again, same deal. You have to sack a creature, get a 5/4 for 6 mana, and each opponent discards a card, they lose 2 life, and you draw a card and gain 2 life. I was kind of shocked that a demon would give you life, because usually you lose life, right? So I was kind of confused by that. I was like, oh, I gain a whole 2 life. Holy moly. Crabomination, this card is insane. A lot of cards from MH3 were insane, but I mean, this one's pretty interesting. So basically, when he enters, target opponent exiles top card of their library, card from random from their graveyard, and a card at random from their hand, and he casts any spell from among them without paying the mana cost. So obviously that's pretty good. Herald of Anguish. This card's also really good. So this one's kind of worth the 7 mana. So he has flying and improvise, but improvise doesn't really matter. So at the beginning of each end step, each opponent discards a card, and then you can sack an artifact and give a creature -2/-2 till end of turn. So you can kill creatures with it. Card's pretty good. Artwork is also pretty baller. Overseer of the Damned, part of my French. When it enters, you may destroy target creature. I don't know why you wouldn't, but so it's got built-in removal, which is good. And whenever a non-token creature opponent controls dies, you create a tapped zombie. So obviously this card is probably the second best card in the deck, because it's removal and it also gives you sack fodder. So really good. This is a card I debated on not putting in, but decided to go ahead and do it because it's a demon. He's also pretty iconic if you played Arena. So whenever he deals combat damage to a player, they sack a creature. So his effect isn't that bad, actually. It's not like good, but it's not bad. Hollowborn Barghest. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have no cards in hand, each opponent loses 2 life. Again, that's more likely to happen than the second part. Second part is at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if they have no cards in hand, they lose 2 life. So basically, people are just going to get punished a lot if they have no cards in their hand, which in this deck is pretty possible. Reaver Demon, whenever it's 8 mana, but you know, he's pretty cool, so it's like I kind of have to include him. Comes into play if you played it from your hand. You have to cast it, obviously. Destroy all non-black creatures. So, Demon of Death's Gate. This is, I think, I don't know, I keep saying like favorite card, but it's definitely up there in this deck. Because you can cheat this guy out. You can pay 6 life, sack 3 black creatures, and cast it for free, basically. We have a lot of sack fodder, so you can basically cheat this out by getting rid of some resources. And he's a 9/9 with flying and trample. And obviously, if you have your anthem effects, he can be a 10/10 or 11/11. So that's pretty good, right? So yeah, that's basically the deck. I had some other cards I was thinking about putting in. Thought about putting rock in, but I don't know. Like I don't like the fact that it's a Pringle, so that's like the main reason why I haven't put it in. Basically, at the end of each or beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 3 life if a permanent left the battlefield. Another funny card is Dreadfest Demon, but this is one where you kind of have to build around to kind of get like the maximum effect of. You basically make a copy of him whenever you basically sack creatures at the beginning of your end step, and you make copies of him. So it's pretty funny. And then Brass Herald, I thought about putting in because it's another anthem and another way to refill your hand, kind of. So, and then the last card I thought about putting in was Kuru, but he's 9 mana, and there's not really a way to cheat this out. So, and you have to keep paying the upkeep cost. The effect is actually pretty good, because you can basically be kind of like a tyrant on the board when this comes out. You can just like, oh, you know, I can kill your commander right now, and you know, so what kind of deal can we make in order for me not to do that? So yeah, so that's the deck, and tell me what you think.